All right, hello everybody. My name is Della Owens, and currently I am just about to graduate tomorrow. Um, and I'm really glad I got to do this experience. I'm going to be talking about my experience in the Randolph County Public Library's Randolph Room. So we as we said, it's the first ever alternative spring break program. Spent 40 hours there working in the Randolph Room, which was up until very recently just strictly a genealogy room. That is until the new Randolph Room director, Mac Watley, joined in July. They are actually currently discovering collections that they had no idea they had, because before, if it wasn't useful to genealogy, it's kind of in a back closet somewhere. So they have a lot of very interesting materials. I worked on this with Chase, he's in the back, and the project that was described to us that we chose to do was the World War I Digitization Day. However, you'll find that that didn't quite work out. Next slide, please. We had some rocky beginnings. The project described to us was not actually as set in stone as we thought it was going to be. We thought we were going to get in there and it would already sort of exist and we would be working on it. But that didn't happen. I was actually expecting the public library to be kind of calling the shots, to be really in charge, but that's not what they were expecting. They wanted someone to come in and bring a knowledge and experience that they had, which it did throw me at first, but once I realized what their needs were, it was a lot easier to do what I had to do. However, the project that they discussed was still on the table, but I decided, or rather suggested, that they weren't quite ready for a digitization project quite yet. But I did get to help them discover what they could do now and what was a project for later. So we wanted to decide what was our project, what could be accomplished in a week, what did we want to do, and could we leave them better than we found them? And that's sort of my overarching idea for my experience there. I wanted to go in and leave them with something that they can move forward and do. We decided to work on the Ralph Emerson Watley papers, which coincidentally is, or rather was, the grandfather of the director of the Randolph County Public Library's Randolph Room, Mac Watley. So we made him happy. I think he really enjoyed that we were working on his grandfather's stuff. Ralph Emerson Watley served during World War I as a motor mechanic in the Aviation Section Singapore, later the Air Service of the U.S. Army. He was one of the first to be deployed out as support from America and one of the last to come back. So he had a lot of interesting materials, including maps, correspondence, scrapbooks, really cool papers. There was this letter opener that looked like a scimitar and was made from a bullet casing. And it was really cool. Wish I had a picture of that, but I think Chase might have one for later. We helped create finding aid guides and templates and provided sources for best practices because no one there really had an archival background. They didn't know what to do next. They had a lot of cataloging experience. They've been cataloging lots of their photos in MARC, but they weren't sure what to do. They wanted to get access to give people access to these collections, but they weren't quite sure what way to go about it. I also worked with Chase to create a finding aid, which is one of the suggested ways for getting their collections out there to people. So I specifically helped them plan the direction of their future projects. I had them go with knowing their collections first. I mean, digitization is great, but if you don't know what collections you have, if you can't provide good metadata, then it's not going to be as helpful as it could be. So I needed them to know what their collections were by assessing their materials, getting those materials arranged, doing their research on their collections, and writing finding aids. And then later they can focus on digitization and outreach because they need to establish control of their blooming archive first. Next, please. And overall, from this experience, I really was happy with what I did. I believe that I took my knowledge and skills that I've gained through previous archives internships, my practicum, volunteership, and I was able to use it in a way to make people understand what archives is all about and so that they can move forward. I got to be a bit of a leader, which was new and different for me, and I enjoyed having people just ask me, like, what should we do next? Because so far I've only been an intern. I've been asking other people, but it was interesting to be the one that had to say, oh, I think you should do this, or maybe you should look over here, or I have a colleague that would be really good if you contacted them. So I believe that I accomplished my goal, and I think that Chase and I left the archive better than we found it. Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, I mean, this is fascinating. I mean, I would say that there's probably hundreds, if not thousands, of public libraries throughout the country that have rooms like this that are kind of the genealogy rooms, but also where over the years various materials have been dumped and no one knows what to do with. And yeah, so I guess my question is kind of having this experience, did it have any impact in terms of where you see yourself going with your degree?
I have thought about rooms like this in public libraries because I knew they existed. I'm interested in genealogy. I've gone to Ancestry, looked at my own family, and I worked at the Greensboro Historical Museum as an intern. I did genealogy work there, did finding aids. So it is definitely an option for me. I think that a lot of people have things that they don't even know that is a treasure, that is something that's unique and will make their library even more special than it already is. In fact, I think that you're probably going to see even more of a growth of this, given that a lot of genealogical material is online and you can't access it. So a lot of people aren't going to their genealogy room as much as they have been in the past. So, which is actually just what happened with the Randolph County Public Library. They were able to look around and see what else do we have, what can we do to bring people in. And so I think there's going to be more of this in the future.
Did anybody know about World War I collection at GPL? Greensboro Public. There's a big, big collection. And it was kind of famous nationally because I think Nellie Rowe, the library, did the first big veteran collection of World War I in the 20s. So did anybody know that there was one up here? Probably not.
They didn't mention it,
yeah.
No. I think they really just didn't quite know where to turn with this.
They did their closet cleaned out.
They were cleaning out the closet, and they had a lot of interesting stuff. Company K, which was a World War I company that was came from mostly the Asheboro, Randolph County area. A lot of that material is unique, specifically that they have, because I know that there was a fire in a governmental building, and a lot of the materials that they had from World War I are gone. So that is an interesting point. If I'll contact them again and say, hey, have you checked out the Greensboro Public Library? Maybe they can help you out. So, thank you.
Yeah, they have a great collection. I mean, it was organized long time. By the time I got here, and it's in file cabinets. It got a lot of publicity. 30s and 40s. Her signal. That was her big contribution to librarianship.
Any other questions?
What do you think if you could only pick one thing, what's the most important thing you learned or got out of it?
Well, definitely the connections I made with people there. I'm still occasionally in contact with them if they have questions. Sometimes I see something I'm like, hey, they would be really interested in seeing this. Sometimes I wish it was a little longer than a week. It's tiring, but it feels a little strange to just leave them to what you have. And you just got to hope that what you left them is good enough. It's kind of like leaving a little baby bird, pushing it out until it flies. But yeah, the experience to lead a project, I think, was what I took away from it.
All right, thank you. Thank you.